About a week ago at Eastwood Field in Niles, Ohio. The Scrappers do it to them tonight. They walk into Falcon Park, complete a sweep, and they retake first place in the Pinckney Division standings. Here to break it down on our Mesa Grande postgame wrap-up, Drew Carter joined by Andy Collier. And Andy, I mean, I'm not sure if you could find a more deflating loss than that. I mean, you take a 5-0 lead through 2 innings, and then they come right back and win.
Yeah, the first 2 losses were understandable, 2 really good pitching outings. We jumped out to a 5-run lead in the first 2 innings. Looked like things were going great. And yeah, you're deflating is probably the right word for it, to be honest with you. Figueroa does enough, I think, in his outing to certainly warrant the win, but at least put us in a position to succeed. And the back end of it didn't go our way.
Yeah, we'll get to Figueroa in a second. I want to start, though, with our Tompkins Trust player of the game, talking about those 5 runs in the first 2 innings. Israel Pineda with a couple of RBI, 2 base knocks. I mean, he has sort of been struggling lately, only 1 hit in his previous game, 1 for 8 over his last 2. That's a good way to wake up the bench.
Yeah, I think he had a couple of good at-bats last night that kind of seemed like it might have woken him up a little bit, and then certainly getting things going in the first and second innings. I think that's a big positive for us, and as we kind of get to the grind here of the towards the postseason, we're going to need him to be hot, and it's kind of picking up the early season form that he had.
Yeah, and speaking of guys who are hot with our new core heat check, how about Justin Connell, a guy who's now walked 8 times in 7 games? I think a stat that I really like about this is Jacob Rhinesmith leads the team this year with 23 walks in 52 games.
Yeah.
So to have more than 1 walk per game, I know it's still early, a small sample size, but that's amazing.
Yeah, and yes, he was the last batter in the game, and I'm sure he takes that on himself a little bit. But to be honest with you, to get on base 4 times, he gets on with a base hit in his first at bat, and then he walks 3 more times.
Right.
That's all you can really ask for a guy in the 8 hole. He's a teenager that is really he bats like he's a mature hitter, and he's been doing it. He grinds out these at bats, and I think that's a really good way to extend out the lineup a little bit more and tax their pitchers while also kind of getting the hits that you want to get. And ultimately helps our team.
Yeah, and then you pointed out earlier that he was playing right in front of Kyle Marincons tonight, another guy who works long at bats. And I mean, Justin Connell showed us that patience right off the bat when he drew that walk-off walk in his 2nd game ever at Falcon Park. And he said this after the game, it takes a lot of patience to be able to not swing the bat when you've got bases full and a chance to
Well, and a kid that young, he's trying to make a name for himself on the team. It's only natural, you would think, that the kid would want to swing out of his shoes all the time to try and say, yeah, I belong here. But he's doing it the other way, which I think is really kind of neat. And, you had another guy like Marincons in the 9 hole. I actually kind of like that because that's an extension of kind of flipping the lineup a little bit. And if you get guys like that up there with Cody Wilson and Rhinesmith and those guys behind him, it makes the lineup that much more dangerous to deal with. And ultimately, when you're thinking, they're dealing with 8-9 hitters, you're not thinking you're going to need 15 maybe more pitches to get through them, and that's a testament to their hard work and discipline at the plate.
Yeah, a bit of a buzzsaw there at the end of the lineup for the Doubledays. And we don't want to forget about Francis Figueroa's move on now to our mound recap, brought to you by Auburn Rehab and Nursing. Figueroa was really good. He gives up 2 runs over 5 innings. He was in line for the win. Considering how he pitched, probably should have picked up the win. I mean, the wheels fell off there at the end, but Alpeggi was fantastic again.
Yeah, he gave up single runs in separate innings, which I think that's a key to kind of focus on. You don't give up clusters of runs. Right. So clearly he was in control of himself, and you're going to give up runs. You get it, but but ultimately he put us in a position to where we needed to be in the in the later half of the game, and just the bats kind of went quiet, and the bullpen couldn't hold on.
Yeah, he gave you a chance. That's all you can really ask for. That's the starter's job. He was great. Gilberto Chu was really solid over an inning and 2/3. And then Angel Guillen struggled a little bit. Basically the most we've seen him struggle all season. But again, that guy's an all-star for a reason. And then Joe Anadome, he's new. He's going up against a team that was clearly feeling itself. I mean, the Scrappers are one of the best hitting teams in the league. He just ran into
they were grooving. Yeah. I mean, you could tell the momentum shifted a little bit, but also they couldn't wait to get in the batter's box. They were hungry, and he just, he served one up, and that ultimately ended up kind of being it.
Right.
But it was kind of one of those things. It was an off night probably for Guillen, I think, but. Ultimately he also showed his moxie a little bit, where he got himself out of a couple of jams that were big too. That could have been, we could have ended the game before extras.
Right.
Really, you think about it that way. It's just one of those games.
Yeah. Yeah, he left the bases loaded. Guillen did. So you talk about that moxie. I mean, that's certainly tough to do. You're right. It is just one of those games. It feels like it's a little bit more weighty, just given the circumstances.
Sure.
But we're going to talk about those standings on the other side of a break. Wegman standings coming to you next. Also, our active physical therapy keys to the game. It's coming up next on our Mesa Grande post-game wrap-up. Located in Auburn, New York, Onondaga Coach is the official transportation for the Doubledays. Since 1953, Onondaga Coach has taken customers where they need to go, one stop at a time. From charters to tours, Onondaga Coach provides friendly, safe, and reliable transportation to wherever you need to go. Join the Doubledays in 2018 and call Onondaga Coach for all your travel needs. 315-225-2216. That's 315-225-2216. Onondaga Coach, your first call for travel. Nothing refreshes like an ice-cold Pepsi. Crisp. Smooth. Refreshing. Delicious. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation. Pepsi, proud partner of the Auburn Doubledays.
Community Hospital is a not-for-profit 99-bed acute care facility serving a population of approximately 80,000. Our mission is to provide compassionate, quality care to our community. Over 95% of the physicians on staff are board certified in at least one specialty and will care for you throughout your stay. Our mission is to provide compassionate, quality care by emphasizing patient-centered healthcare and continuously improving the delivery and quality of our care. It is our vision to be the trusted, first-choice provider of high-quality healthcare for our community, working together with our employees, medical staff, and regional partners.
Our Mesa Grande post-game wrap-up, wrapping up this Doubledays 9-6 loss against the Scrappers tonight at Falcon Park. Drew Carter back with Andy Collier. We move on now to our Wegman standings, and this is the tough part. This is where it's kind of a kick in the groin area to see what's going on with the Wegman standings, because the Scrappers with the sweep here at Falcon Park retake first place in the Pinckney Division standings. We're coming down the home stretch here now, Andy. Only 12 games left.
Yeah, you kind of felt okay with a 4-game split of the Batavia series, thinking, okay, no big deal. This is the 3 games that we really wanted to focus on anyways.
Right.
So to not really come away with any of the wins, that's really, it's not something that we're really comfortable with. Obviously, we lose the lead in the division, which just means we got to work that much harder to get it back. Yeah. But it also means that the rest of the league can kind of catch up to us a little bit, and now it's starting to get a little bit more dangerous for us to get that playoff picture.
Right. Well, the good news is Brooklyn also lost tonight, so the Doubledays are still in first place in the wild card standings. But honestly, for lack of a better term, it just sucks because it's better to talk about the division standings than the wild card standings. I got sick of that.
When you think about it, we were talking about chasing for so long. We had 2 months of it where we were chasing these guys, and it even gotten into 5 or 6 games even. So the fact that we made that big push to get there, and then to have it, and then you can't handle the prosperity almost. Yeah. It's kind of unnerving a little bit, somewhat. But you know what? There's still a lot of game to be played. We're a really dangerous road team. We have the second best winning percentage on the road, which I think will help us maybe kind of recenter us a little bit, get some. Usually it's the other way around, but for a team like this, I think they do really well with camaraderie. Yeah. So maybe them going to different homes, the host homes, they don't really hang out as much as they do, and this could potentially get them going. So let's hope.
Exactly. 6-game road trip coming up. 3 in State College and then 3 in West Virginia. Bus leaves tomorrow morning, basically at the crack of dawn. Moving on now to our Montezuma Winery Series update. Andy, we do this every night. You want to just skip it for tonight?
Well, we kind of know what happened in the series, so it's all good.
Yeah, it's a 3-game sweep for the Scrappers. First 2 games, kind of wire-to-wire wins for Mahoning Valley. Tonight, the Doubledays go out on top 5-0, and then the Scrappers come back and win.
Was something like 24 games going into the 8th inning.
Yeah. In 9 inning games, 24-0 when leading after 8 innings. Yeah.
Just another stat you can throw out there.
Yeah, it stings. But
it's one of those things.
We're going to move on. Let's just move on to our active physical therapy keys to the game. Taking a look at what we laid out for the Doubledays to do before this game began. Number one, knock them in, because Auburn has been struggling to score with runners in scoring position, just struggling to hit the ball in general since the All-Star break. They actually hit it pretty well tonight, especially early on.
You got to think 6 runs, five runs in the first 2 innings is ideal.
Yeah.
You got to think 6 runs, 8 hits is enough to propel you forward, especially with a horse like Big Arrow on the mound. Just wasn't to be. And, who would have thought that 1 run that we scored in a response in the 7th would have been, what caused us to go into extras. We should have been cruising at that point. But, it's just that the hitting was there.
Right.
In the middle of the inning, we didn't have a hit, though, from the 3rd inning to the 7th, through the 7th inning. That did kind of go quiet there. Tried to rev him up a little bit again. Just not enough time.
Yeah, right. One positive from this game, at least. I mean, there were plenty of positives on the hitter side, at least. But another positive is no errors. We talked about cleaning up the defense before, and that's something that they've struggled with the last 2 games for us combined, first 2 games of this series. But none tonight. That's a positive.
Yeah, there were some silly errors. Sanchez behind the back. That was unnecessary. Blash, a very, very uncharacteristic 3 errors. He's been very solid and smooth all year long. So maybe the nerves were kind of getting to the guys a little bit, but they showed it on defense today that they were here to play. And actually some really, really solid plays. Brian Smith deep in left field corner makes a couple of nice plays. Solid fundamental baseball. Just, they hit them where we weren't.
Yeah,
so, it's kind of the thing.
Sometimes it just happens. And then our last key was just defend home turf, because you said it, the Doubledays have struggled a little bit at home this year, for whatever reason that may be, but the good news is you get a road trip here.
Yeah, it does stink a little bit that we don't defend it the way we would hoped, but we still, like you said, we got a 6-gamer, this puts a lot more emphasis on this road trip. We were hoping that it would be the exact opposite, that we could maybe coast a little bit, maybe do some celebrating on the road. But then it also puts a lot more emphasis on that 3-game homestand that we have with Williamsport coming up. And then, of course, finishing up the season in Batavia. So there's a lot of factors going on here. We're road warriors. Let's see if we can finish on that high note, and and then look to defend home and see where we're at.
So Doubledays dropped this one tonight, 9-6. That'll do it for our Mesa Grande post-game wrap-up. No pre or post-game for about a week now as the Doubledays hit the road for 6 games, but we will see you in late August for that 3-game series against the Crosscutters. So for Andy Collier, I'm Drew Carter. It's our Mesa Grande post-game wrap-up. We'll see you next time.
Fear the stash.
Fans, would you like to look your best and get ahead of the rest? Colella's Embroidery and Printing is your one-stop shop for everything from t-shirts to uniforms, activewear, and polos. Located in Auburn at 1742 Clark Street, only a few home runs from the ballpark. Colella's Printing and Embroidery is your destination for all of your printing and embroidery needs. Visit ColellaEmbroidery.com or call 315-254-2583. At Colella Embroidery and Printing, no job is too big or too small. They do it all.
Nucor is made up of over 20,000 teammates whose goal is to take care of our customers. Nucor accomplishes this by being the safest, highest quality, lowest cost, most productive, and most profitable steel products company in the world. Nucor is committed to doing this while being cultural and environmental stewards in the communities where we live and work. Nucor succeeds by working together. Hard work, determination, and the American spirit. That's the Nucor way.
Hi, this is Lloyd Hoskins, Stop DWI Director. Some adults are tempted by the notion that if they host or supervise a party where teens are drinking, they can control the dangers. Experience shows that this isn't the case, and that adults who do so can be financially and criminally liable. There are criminal penalties for serving alcohol to those under 21. This message was brought to you by the Cuyahoga County Stop DWI Committee.